And big up and a warm welcome back to SportSentric. Oh, if I could fit my face. Whoa. All these games. Right. Can we get you to work? Yourself, Sensei. Oh, no, my camera's gone. And big up and a warm welcome back to SportSentric. I'm your host, Billy2109. I hope you enjoyed the show on BMGT. Unfortunately, we couldn't really go into detail because it's all speculation right now, and there's only a minute and a half trailer, to be fair. So this is why we didn't make the video last too long on that channel. But this one, what more can I say? But is everybody in the chat enjoying the World Cup? And what can I say? As a proud French supporter, I am happy to see Mbappe do what he did against Senegal. If anyone watched the Senegal match, basically Senegal scored, and you can see Mbappe standing there just like, calm, don't worry. Within 2 seconds, my man decides to do that shot for the second goal. Now, that's what you call giving someone some false hope here and just watching it just dash you in their face, them ones there. Unfortunately, this is a lesson that people have to learn, them ones there. This is just the way that the beast, But France just look majestic. When you look at Akliouche, who didn't even get on the pitch, but you've got Cherki, you've got Elise. Do you know who I liked in the first match? Elise. Elise, for me, was man of the match. At Crystal Palace, you'd be mistaken to think he was just a right winger, but that man can actually play in the centre just as well as he does on the wing. And that's worrying because the three of them can interchange. Doué, Cherki, and Elise can interchange. Then you can add Barcola for width on the left-hand side. And behind Mbappe, them three feeding balls into him. Yeah, I'm liking the look of that coming into the World Cup. My problem with France was the negativity that Deschamps seems to have in playing three defensive midfielders. In the last tournament, he played Kante, he played Rabiot, and he played Tchouameni. Now, for me, that's over defensive to me. There's no need to play three DMs. But this tournament, we're playing two central DMs behind Mbappe. Now, those two are workhorses, especially Rabiot. And I don't like Rabiot as a player. I think he's very limited. But he's good at what he does and his role and function in a football team. And I will always give him that. He works his socks off and he goes up and down, he tackles, he does everything. And so he allows the platform for the three ahead of him to do their job without having to go back all the time. Then you've got Tchouameni in there as well. Then you've got our backline of William Saliba, and thank God Arsenal won something this year because that man there, I wanted him to go to Real Madrid to go and win something so that he got that experience in his career, that he knows what level he has to reach if he wants to continue winning. And this season, he won the league at Arsenal. I'm not a fan of Upamecano. And left back, right back, Koundé at right back. For me, Koundé's a weird one, I know he can play as a right back, but I do like him as a centre back. But then if you use him as a right back, then you lose that. We'll see how the tournament plays out regarding him. The other powerhouses I've got to say is Spain. In the first game, they drew against Cape Verde? They drew 0-0. But it was clear and evident, they didn't have any wingers on the pitch. Once they put on man like Yamal, you could see that the game changed. And then when they put on Baby Buster Rhymes, I'm going to call him, for the context, If you want to know who Baby Buster Rhymes is, it's Nico Williams. But Baby Buster, with his hairstyle, when you see him come on the pitch, you know that they've got a dangerous threat on their way. And this is what Spain were lacking. And in the last game last night, you could actually see how it functioned. And Lamar scored the first goal, and in the end of history. Argentina have come to the tournament, and you can see how pivotal Messi is to them and how they function. Portugal, another team that I thought would struggle, and bang on, I was right, because they're still reliant on Ronaldo, or this team still plays for Ronaldo. And for me, this is why Ronaldo should have stepped back a few years ago, because when the team is not set up to play for themselves, but play with one person in mind, then they're basically compromising the rest of the squad to fit that one person. Now, I noticed it in the last Euros, and it's evident in this one, where everything in the Portuguese team is set up for Ronaldo. So you're overshadowing the team, to be fair. This is why I don't want them to win. I feel like he should have stepped aside, yeah. And I know it's for the likes of Ramos, yeah, to force their way in. But with Ronaldo there and the gravitas of his career, I don't see them getting a chance under Martinez. I think he's too much of a coward of a manager to drop Ronaldo. But that's just me. If you disagree with me, please put it in the chat, because I want to know why. But I feel like he's a coward of a manager that he won't drop Ronaldo. Now, for the benefit of the chat, I'm going to say another team that surprised me was Canada. They're 6-1 in the last game. I know the opposition had a man sent off, but in their first game, you see the evidence of how they struggled, and in the second game, they turned on a clinic for the people. So fair play to Canada, respect, and big up Tasia Buchanan, because if you watch the last show, yeah, I talked about Tasia Buchanan before the tournament, and he has lived up to the hype. Jonathan David came to the party, but I just see how much Taylor Buchanan means to that Canadian team. Brazil, everyone's saying Brazil's here. Right, this is the worst Brazilian team in a generation. I was the first one to coin it, and then ESPN made it a year later. They coined exactly the words that came out of my mouth. This is the worst Brazilian team in a generation. When you've got the likes of the Pigeon, and guess what? I have to see him every week here as a Spurs fan, and my gosh, he's one of the most awful strikers I've ever seen. He cannot control a football, and whoever takes him, you're welcome to him. If it's 20 million, mate, I'll snap your hand off it for 5, if you get me. Actually, scrub that, yeah. I thought we'd have to pay. You know that Channel 5 program, yeah. Right, you pay, we'll take it away. I thought it'd be one of those ones, you know, Tottenham pay, yeah, to take that piece of pigeon away, you know, them ones there. But hey, it is what it is in the end of the day. You can laugh, you can cry, but that's just the way it is. That's how I see football. But yeah, back to the tournament anyway. There've been some nations that have put on a clinic. Like I said, England in the second half put on a clinic, yeah, and powered their way past a Asian Croatia team. And that was my fear for Croatia before the tournament. I saw them, a lot of their players, yeah, becoming senior pros and over the hill. No disrespect to the likes of Modric, because they're still a fantastic player, but this is one tournament too far for a lot of them. That's what I saw. And Vuskovic, for those out there, yeah, I watched him in that game, and the amount of touches he had in the ball, he could have been closed down by multiple England players, because the amount of touches he wanted to have on the football alone. His positioning can be whack, where he's out of position, yeah, because he's decided to come forward, so he's left a gap at the back. His awareness also needs work, but he's developing. But my only thing to people, yeah, is let them develop in peace. Don't be hounding them and putting them on pedestals before they've even made it. And let a player at least make it first before you decide to heap praise on them. Take a chill pill. Take a step back. I used to work from a brother from another mother, Sava. Take a chill pill. Take a step back. Let the player get there before you hype the player up. But unfortunately, fans are just knee-jerk these days. They have to put that player on that pedestal, on that mountain, before he's even done anything. You can listen to the Spurs fans when they're talking about Lucas Bergvall. Who's seeing Bergvall and thinking that he's worth £100 million? He's not worth £100 million. And I know it's a seller's market and it's a buyer's market, and he's worth whatever the team is willing to pay for him. But that team would be out of their mind to be offering £100 million for Bergvall. I'm sorry, but if you watched him in that Sweden versus Netherlands game, the only player who actually worth £100 on that £100 million on that Swedish team was Alanga. Because all word did he rip Van der Ven apart a new one in the second half. That nuts in the second half was absolutely insane and should have been illegal. You could see towards the end here that Van der Ven was glad to have that drinks break. That's how bad that man got ripped by Elanga. And yes, Elanga was a second half substitute, and you have to put that into account. But my word, did Van der Ven get terrorized, man. Towards the end, you could just feel it's like waving a white flag, one of them ones, man. But Holland won the game in the end for 4-1. And so that will be brushed under the carpet. Somerville's goal in that victory was fantastic, by the way. What a shot. My opinion for Holland, yeah, is I feel like they're gonna freeze at a moment when they're playing a big nation. I saw them do it against England in the last semi-final. They lost in the last minute with thanks to Ollie Watkins' goal. For me, yeah, I want to see how good their mentality is when the going gets tough. That's what I want to see with Holland. But I do like the way, and I'm going to merge this a bit over with my love of Tottenham Hotspurs, the way that Spurs seem to be getting a Dutch contingent in there. Last season, we had Xavi Simons and we had Van der Ven. This season, we've already brought in Van Hecker, and hopefully we might get some more in the likes of Gakpo or the likes of, for me, I want to get Verbruggen, man. I can't watch Kinski in goal, brother. I'm sorry, man. You know what I mean? I know we're going to get pelters for that, but Kinski, man, not for me, bro. But one of them ones, innit? I would have someone like Verbruggen in goal, yeah. And then I would be looking to... that's the question as well. For me, yeah, right. As a Spurs fan, and this is where I side live right now, because I know we're doing World Cup talk and Spurs and World Cup, but while news is in there and the people are going, I don't expect Spurs to get Mateus Fernandes. I expect him to go to Manchester United, to be fair. If Tottenham do pull it off, fair play to them. But with all the news and speculation about Mateus Fernandes, I expect him to go to Manchester United. As for Tonali, let's see Tottenham put their money where their mouth is. For years, I've said, if you're a big boy, pick up your big boy pants and go to war. And finally, it looks like Spurs are doing that with the signing of Van Hecker and hopefully, potentially, the signing of someone like Tonali. But then you still need more in that midfield, because that midfield triangle has been woeful for years. Tonali would be that step to replacing Dembele, but would still need more in that midfield, because I can't watch Bentancur. I'm not a fan of his. I think he's very mid, but he's the best of a bad bunch. That's the thing at Tottenham Hotspurs. Basuma has already just left. I wouldn't re-sign Paulinho, because I think Paulinho was a stopgap, to be fair. So let's see the main event, because I think he was just a stopgap year. And let's see what they do. That's all I'm going to say. Let me keep my powder dry, yeah, and let me decide on September the 1st, when the window closes, yeah, just how good Tottenham are and how this redeemed team is. But anyway, back to the World Cup. For the benefit of our friend in the group chat, Lubo, United States have stood up in this tournament so far. They've beaten who they've had to beat. Paraguay are poor. They are absolutely woeful and one of the worst South American teams. I don't know how... See, this must be really bad, but that Brazil team finished beneath Paraguay, and that's a real talk. But anyway, back to the talk anyway. Yeah, United States. They've beaten Paraguay and they've beaten, I think it was Australia. Nah. So they've got their 2 wins and they're safely through. But we'll see how good they are in the knockout stages. I don't see them getting past the knockout stages, but at least they're keeping up the mantra of home nation teams here usually go far in competition. So go to the next round of the knockout competition. So and fair play to them. And fair play to Mexico as well, because I think they'll make it into the next round as well, because they look like they're going to win their group comfortably. Which I said on the first channel, on the first show that I did regarding the World Cup. Most of the predictions I had, have actually come true. So let's hope, that France win the World Cup for me, innit? But who are your thoughts? Who do you think has stood out in the tournament so far? I've given you the big nations, and I've given you some small ones. Do you know who? Before I think about it, I am a massive fan of Cote d'Ivoire, or for everyone out there, Ivory Coast. What a team with man like Kessie in that midfield. Wow, the beast. Do you know what I call him? I call him the beast of the Ivory Coast, the man like Kessie. And that man there is a beast and a man and a half. I would have loved him at Tottenham Hotspur as a potential signing back in the day. And even now, I'd take Kessie in that midfield. Then you got Yan Diamande, the new wonder kid on the left-hand side, just running at his man, knows where the goal is, already at 19, estimated at £100 million. Then you've got, on the other side, Ahmad, who's at Man United, and, well, out of a bad bunch at the time, Ahmad stood out hands and shoulders for me. The only thing I had with Ahmad is that he should have got chances earlier, but he's getting his chance now. And Ahmad is, for me, I would have had Ahmad at Tottenham Hotspurs on the right-hand side. That's how good I feel Ahmad is. They even got Eben and Dicker on the squad. And the thing is, their defence is so good that the man hasn't even stepped on the pitch yet. They've got a strong little bench there. And I know Germany beat them, but they gave Germany a good run for their money for a good majority of that game. And then before that, they beat France in their pre-season tournament, in their pre-season match before the tournament. So do not be surprised if you see Ivory Coast go far in this tournament, because I feel they can actually give anyone a run for their money on their day. Because that's a powerful team of, how does Saba put it? Men. That's why I'm surprised you don't support Ivory Coast, to be fair. There's a lot of men in that team. But I'm sure I'm going to get pelts for that later. But it is what it is. And on that note, I want to talk about Morocco as well, because Morocco is another team that has quietly come through. They've had the likes of Brahim Diaz and Hakimi. And in the last World Cup, Anahi stood up and they looked like a solid team, of who play for each other. And in the first game, I felt they should have beat Brazil, to be fair, when they played them in the first game. Now, the second game, they put the thing to bed and actually done what they had to do, and they've won the match. But I do like Morocco, and they're going to be hard to get past, and I think they're going to be hard to beat. Belgium, for me, are a letdown. I think they're another one like Croatia, who it's a changing of a guard moment for them. I think the likes of De Bruyne and that need to move on and have the young generation come through. And I'll always be honest with you on football, on SportSentric. I'll always try and make sure that the news comes out that, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent, I'm always going to be truthful with you, because that's what you deserve. And when I look at Belgium, I just feel like they have a lot of Croatia about them, where it's a changing of the guard, where the old players need to move on and have a younger generation come through. Now, that's not speaking bad of De Bruyne. It's just saying, look, there's another generation coming through. Like I said, Charles de Catalet. they're coming through. So the next thing is for them to move the old generation on. They've had their shot and allow the younger generation to come in and have their go. You never know. Ah, what else? What other countries have really stood out? Mm, ah, I know. Japan. I was a massive fan of Japan before the tournament, and I stand by it. They're another dark horse like Ivory Coast, that they are quick. They're one of them teams that if the ball breaks in the midfield, I would dread to be running back towards goal when you're seeing the likes of Ueda and their wingers running at you. Endo in the midfield. That team there is built for a counter-attacking team. They can soak up pressure, yeah, and just hit you on the break. They don't even play like that, to be fair, but that team would be set up for that, to be fair, if they wanted to go defensive. Because you can see how much space they've got in their forward players. One ball over the top, one ball on the sides, and they'll be in. So they're going to be a difficult team for any team that wants to go at them and think that we're going to try and dominate the play. And that will always be at the back of their minds, yeah, that these teams can actually break on them and do some damage. So with that in mind, I am going to I didn't want to go too long on this one because I know there's a game tonight, and unfortunately, yeah, I have to miss. And that's a big shame. I have to miss the France game tonight. And I was so looking forward to watching France versus Iraq, especially as a horror fan. But you know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, these things happen. Anyway, thank you very much for tuning into SportSentric. We'll see you next time. And we won't leave it that long, I promise you. And Corey's going to be on this channel as well when we talk about different things like wrestling and different sports as well, because we've got Commonwealth Games coming up not long after this. So we're going to be talking about more World Cup and more Commonwealth Games on here, SportSentric. Thank you very much for tuning in, and bless.